People versus Dale Cummings. As I'm sure you all remember, the jury returned a verdict back in June of this year of guilty on murder in the first degree against Mr. Cummings. He shot and killed two Bangladeshi men back in April of 2024. They were two handymen that had gone to this home where Cummings was essentially holding up and living without anybody's permission. And when they got there, they were essentially ambushed by Cummings. The jury found him guilty last June, and we appeared this morning for his sentencing. And I'm pleased to report that the judge sentenced him to the max. Judge DiTullio sentenced him to life without parole, so he will be doing life in prison without parole for the conviction on murder in the first degree. And he was also sentenced on the criminal possession of a weapon, second degree, and the criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree. Those sentences will run concurrent to his sentence of life without parole. This was a really awful case for the community at large, but also, of course, for the Bangladeshi community in Western New York. Mr. Yusuf, the 39-year-old victim, left a wife and 3 kids. She was actually pregnant at the time with their third child, and she has since had that baby. That baby is now 10 months old. There's also a 3-year-old surviving child of Mr. Yusuf and his wife, and a 7-year-old child as well. The wife, the widow, appeared today virtually for the sentencing. Not long after this homicide, Nusrat is her first name. She moved back to Bangladesh with her kids, and this is a devastating situation for her and her family, and they're back in Bangladesh. But she appeared today via a virtual appearance that we were able to arrange, and she made a strong recommendation to the judge that the judge sentence this man to the maximum sentence allowed under the law. And I give her great credit for doing this. I know this is a devastating crime for her and her family, and I think she made a very compelling statement to the court before the judge handed down the sentence. The second victim, Mr. Mia, was a 59-year-old woman, or 59-year-old man. He left a wife and 7 kids. The oldest boy, the 23-year-old young man, and he had kids, by the way, all the way from 23 down to age 3. And I know that family also moved out of the area. This crime was equally devastating to them and their family. His wife and her 7 kids, they moved down to Maryland, where they had come from. They'd only been in the Western New York area for about a year, and they moved back where they had more family down in Maryland. They also participated in the sentencing. They didn't do it live or by a virtual appearance, but they did so by submitting victim impact statements. And I can only say that I'm glad this part of the criminal case is over for them. And I know this is a devastating loss for both of these families, and it was shocking to this community. And we're glad that the judge handed down the maximum sentence allowed under this case. So, anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them.
What was it about this case that made it a first-degree case?
The fact that Mr. Cummings killed 2 people in the course of the same criminal transaction. That's it. So we indicted on murder in the first degree because 2 people were killed during the same crime. Anyone else?
I went to court today for that sentencing, and Judge DiTullio asked the defendant, do you have anything to say? And he basically said he didn't do it. So then they signed a thing for an appeal. What's your comment on that, I guess?
Well, I know he's maintained his innocence. Obviously, we feel like the proof was overwhelming. The jury agreed. They were out for about 2 hours. There was a lot of evidence here, a lot of forensic evidence, a lot of digital evidence, and he maintained his innocence, but I think the jury got it right. Anyone else?